This is the Pioneer Museum of Alabama, a place where cabins, tools, and entire stories have been gathered from across the state. But this place didn't begin as a museum. It started with one man and a pile of things most people would have called junk. In the late 1960s, as Alabama rushed toward modernization, the past was quietly being left behind. Old barns collapsed, tools rusted in fields, generations of hard-earned knowledge just fading away. But Curren Farmer didn't see junk. He saw fingerprints. He saw stories. As a teacher at Troy State University, he understood something most people didn't. History isn't just written in books. It's held in the things people leave behind. So while others cleared space for the future, he started collecting the past. Of course, one man collecting junk can only go so far, unless someone believes in the why. That's where Margaret Pace Farmer comes in. Historian, author, and just as committed to preserving the story of Pike County. Together, they didn't just collect artifacts. They built meaning around them. And then the community stepped in. Neighbors donated tools, families shared heirlooms, and eventually the Gibson family donated the land that would give all of it a home. By 1969, the museum was officially established. By 1971, it opened its doors. At first, it was a collection, but in 1972, everything changed. Curren Farmer brought in a log cabin. Not a replica, not a display piece, a real cabin. Moved, rebuilt, and placed right there on the land. And suddenly, this wasn't just a museum anymore. It was a village. One building turned into many. A schoolhouse, a chapel, a smokehouse. Homes that once stood somewhere else, now telling their stories side by side. It became something you don't just look at, you walk through it. Today, the museum spans 40 acres, with over 20 historic structures and thousands of artifacts. And honestly, the moment you step outside into the village, that's where it really hits. Because this isn't history behind glass. This is history you can stand inside. You can feel how small those homes were, how simple, how intentional. There's a dog trot cabin designed to pull wind through, like nature's own air conditioner. A reminder that survival used to depend on understanding the land, not controlling it. Even a locomotive sits nearby, tied to the roots of country music through Hank Williams Sr.'s family. Every piece has a story, some loud, some quiet. Now, I'll be honest, this stop came with a bit of tension. Inside the museum, photography is allowed, but there was some concern about just how much documenting was happening. And it turned into one of those moments where you feel watched instead of welcomed. So I adjusted, stepped back a bit, took in what I could, and focused on what mattered most, the experience itself. Because sometimes the story isn't just the place, it's how you move through it. Despite that moment, the bigger picture never changed. What Curren and Margaret Farmer built here is something rare. Not just a museum, but a preserved way of life. A reminder that history isn't always saved by institutions. Sometimes it's saved by someone stubborn enough to say, no, this still matters. If you ever find yourself near Troy, Alabama, take the time to walk this village. Step into the cabins. Read the signs. Let yourself slow down just enough to hear what's still being said. And if you're out chasing back roads and forgotten places like we are, stick around, because there are a lot more stories waiting just off the map. In the end, this place isn't just about old tools or weathered cabins. It's about a man who refused to let history be thrown away, a community that chose to preserve their story, and a village built from pieces of lives that once felt ordinary, but were never insignificant. It's not perfect. It's not polished in every corner, but neither was the life it represents. And maybe that's what makes it feel real. Because when you walk through a place like this, you start to realize something. History doesn't survive because it's convenient. It survives because someone decides it's worth saving. Because sometimes the things we almost throw away are the very things that teach us who we were.